Hello and welcome to NewFilmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo and we are here at the South Park Center, and I'm here with filmmaker Andrew Acedo with his movie, The Sad Poet. Let's take a look at the clip.
How do my poems make you feel?
Like, I'm not so alone anymore.
You're not alone, Jerry. I'm here.
Yeah, but are you even real?
As real as you want me to be.
Andrew, it's great to have you here and congratulations on your film, The Sad Poet.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here.
I loved your film very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
You did a fantastic job and I want to get into lots of details about it, but let us know, for anyone else that hasn't seen it, what the movie was about.
So The Sad Poet is basically about this sad man who falls in love with a sad poet just basically through her blog of poetry. So he's never actually met the girl. And it kind of affects his real life relationship and his perspective of what's real.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it was such a beautiful, inspirational story.
Oh, thank you.
And you did such a great job in it. I'm almost surprised to hear it's one of your first pieces of work, which means you've got a very promising career ahead of you.
Oh, thanks.
But what was the inspiration for you in deciding to say, I want to make this project?
Well, from many places. I mean, I guess first, I've always been intrigued by this idea of loving somebody or being in love with somebody strictly through artistic expression. I remember listening to music and this girl singing, and I love her lyrics and the sound of her voice. I'm like, I think I'm in love with this girl. I've never actually met the girl, but I'm like, damn, I'm in love. So I've always been interested in that because, you know, every single day we walk around with an inevitable facade. Sometimes we're not our truest selves. We're different people to different people. And I think when you create something, you're in the darkness of your room. Usually, you're writing, whether it's music or a book or a film, and you can't help but be honest. You know, like to me, it's like if you're not gonna be honest, if you're not gonna be truthful, then you're not like. I don't know. For me personally, I don't want to make something that isn't personal. So that's why I've always been intrigued by that idea, because I feel like you're really in love with their soul, as opposed to the person. That's one form of inspiration. I've always wanted to do that, and I love poetry. Poetry is one of my passions besides film. So I was like, hey, maybe I'll make the person a poet. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I have some experience writing poetry. I'm not like, I wouldn't ever label myself yet like a poet, but I said, let's try that. And then secondly, over the past couple years ago, I started noticing I've been struggling with my mental health, feelings of loneliness, feelings of just I don't know, just numbness, and et cetera, et cetera. And then so, you know, as therapy, I started to write a script, but I mean, it really wasn't going anywhere. And then I was in a relationship with someone who suffered through depression. And so I remembered her battle, and it helped me, like remembering her battle and seeing where she is now and how she's happy and she's a yoga teacher now and everything. I'm just super inspired by her story.
Well, you inspired us, you know, and that's what's so wonderful. When you can make a movie that is, you know, something very personal to you, and then you can give it to an audience. And I think one of the things you mentioned as well, which is amazing, is we're all too afraid to be ourselves, be not okay, go through certain things. And, you know, and obviously being an artist is very therapeutic to get over things, get through things as well, which you certainly were able to communicate. You had a really great cast that communicated that message very well. You've obviously got some good team of people and a good crew. How do you assemble all of these amazing people together?
Man,
for the cast, for example.
Cast, well, the main actor, Raphael, he's actually a hometown friend. He's from Chino Hills. And in high school, he was always like the lead actor of all the plays and everything. And I've worked on a couple small projects with him before, but nothing like too big. And then for this movie, I just asked him to audition, and he auditioned along with maybe like 8 other guys or 10 other guys, and he just really stood out. Raphael is like, he captures like my brain perfectly in like in acting though. Like he does things that I can't do physically that just like encapsulates my brain, my mind. And the rest of the people, the girl who played Hannah, Sydney, she was actually a volunteer for New Filmmakers LA.
Wow.
And she told me she was an actress, and then I was just going through people I knew to ask to audition. I just asked her to audition.
Yeah.
And you should cast someone when you have like 10 people audition and there's only one that like you just remember for some reason. You know, you just remember her. Anita, the girl who played the poet, she's one of the close friends of the producer, and she auditioned. So yeah, we just had like an audition process, casting call.
Well, I love how you kind of like took us very, almost like we were going on the journey with them, and even the way that you panned the camera, and it was very intimate. You know, was that something you wanted to have a connection with your audience, that, you know, almost to really feel what they were really going through?
Totally. I mean, it's a film about intimacy.
Yeah.
It's like a dark comedy about intimacy. It's a movie about, two people who seem to be very intimate with each other, but they're really not.
Yeah.
You know. And so the movie ends up being about to not be afraid to trust people with emotional intimacy, and that it's okay. You could talk to people if you're feeling some type of way, and it's crazy, like. Yeah, he was in love with someone because she was making him feel like he wasn't alone, and
Well, you're a very talented writer, and I thought it was really beautifully directed, and you've got to certainly have a great relationship with your cast, because there's some vulnerable scenes you put in there as well. So how, as a director, how do you go about like making sure the cast feel comfortable, communicating with them? How is that process for you?
I mean, for me, it's important before we shoot, I ask each actor, like, how do you want to be directed? Are you more a technical actor? Do you want me to say, like, turn your head this way? Or do you want to just go off an emotion or a feeling? So for the vulnerable scenes, you had to, like, for Raphael, he doesn't need environment. He doesn't need the environment to fit the scene. He's like on-off switch. He'll be like laughing, telling a joke about like cereal. And I'll be like, let's go, action, and his face will literally just switch, Whereas for Sydney, I'm not saying any method is better than any method, you know what I mean? But Sydney needs to be in that moment. Like before those vulnerable scenes, she had to go off to a room by herself, listen to music, really like get in that mode. So did Anita. So for those vulnerable scenes, you just have to instill, you have to show them that, listen, there's no such thing as failing here. I trust you. Just take it as far as you want.
Don't we all want to be on Andrew's set? That's so good. You take care of us all. It's fantastic. Well, I think one of the most amazing things as well is that, is obviously taking something that is personal and vulnerable and putting it out there to the big wide world and seeing it, because it is a big movement when you take it from paper and then all of a sudden it's in front of an audience. I think Andrew probably had one of the best reactions I've ever experienced at New Filmmakers, and had more fans than, I said, Justin Bieber last night. It was insane. Coming to watch what is it, how nice is it to have your film and then obviously have such a great camaraderie with your cast, your crew, and then all the people that supported you as well. And for those that don't know, Andrew is probably one of the most influential people we've ever had at New Filmmakers LA, and a massive part of our family. We're so grateful for everything that you do and for all the filmmakers, because honestly, New Filmmakers wouldn't be today what it's without you. And so how is that feeling then to bring it home and have your movie at New Filmmakers with the most rapturous support I've ever seen in any film festival?
It's nothing short of a dream come true. It is. It's actually overwhelming. I still haven't processed it. It was just a few hours ago.
Yeah.
But it's just like in front of people that I love. It's humbling. I'm flattered. And to bring it to New Filmmakers LA, I had to screen it here first, because New Filmmakers LA means so much to me personally, and it's taught me. I've grown so much in the past like 2.5 years, like unforeseen growth, And so to bring it to New Filmmakers LA is nothing short of a dream come true. It's an amazing feeling. I was looking out at the crowd. I was like, I can't believe this. This is weird. Like I felt like I was seriously like in a dream.
Well, I mean, we're very lucky to have you, but it's so nice that you have so much talent to bring as a filmmaker, but also that you give us such an important message for your filmmaking, and that I'm grateful for, and I think your audience is certainly grateful for that as well.
Thanks.
And I think one of the most important things is to address these things and address, if you've got issues and if you've got mental health issues or need therapy, and sometimes by the moving image you can actually really give people almost a sense of happiness to know that they're not alone. Is that something you wanted to have from your audiences, to kind of almost say, hey, this is an example, and you're not alone, we all go through certain things?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, I think we're all lonely a little bit.
Yeah.
Even if you don't think you're like you're not blatantly lonely. I think we're still all lonely because we're all going through our own personal experiences in life, and that in and of itself is lonely. No one else is experiencing what you're experiencing, and I think that feeling of loneliness is actually like what should make us not feel alone, because we're all lonely together. You know what I mean?
We are. We're all lonely together, and I think it's so important to speak out about how you feel, right?
And you shouldn't be afraid to reach out to people, because everyone's looking for people to talk to. Everyone's looking for some company. And with this film, I want to inspire people to just be honest with each other, and to that, it's okay what you're going through. It's, and it's no shame in feeling what you feel, and you just have to be open with people. You can't be afraid to. You need to trust people and have faith that people will understand, or at least try to understand.
Well, you need to make more movies, because that's what we need. And I really mean that, because honestly, like, to have such an intellectual thinker that is helping to support the world through filmmaking and understanding of each other, and I think that's a very powerful thing, and certainly one of your gifts. So it leads me to say, what's next? What's going on next, Andrew?
So I already wrote another short. It's called Sing to Me. It's about a guy who he sings every time he talks. It's like a condition he has, and he struggles with it because he feels like such an outsider. Then his life kind of changes when he meets a girl who has the same exact condition as him, and it's just a movie about being an outsider, and it's really a love story to best friends. And so I already had auditions for that, and I haven't asked Isha to edit it yet, because I'm trying to put together a budget, or I haven't asked really anyone to be a part of the crew, because I'm trying to put together budgets so I can pay people.
Well, you can do it here right now, and we can ask for money and those great people that make it all work, right? I have the privilege of getting to see you, in my personal life every day, and I'm always very inspired by your passion and your energy, and I think you're an inspiration to a lot of people out there, and yet you're so young in your career, and that's a great blessing to you. But what have for you personally thus far, because obviously you've been very much in the film festival world, what piece, who's inspired you, and what things have you learned thus far, because you're really advocacy for many people that want to follow in your footsteps?
Well, first off, my parents. I just came back from the Philippines not too long ago, so seeing where they came from and seeing where they are now, it's like I shouldn't ever take a day off, ever. You know what I mean? I should work hard, because they really came here for a better life, and for their kids to like succeed. So they're definitely an influence. Their strength and their courage and their resilience. Artistically, a lot of filmmakers and musicians are some of my inspirations, like Frank Ocean and
we love Frank Ocean.
And filmmakers like Paul Thomas Anderson, and just artists who I gravitate towards most, where they're just like unapologetically honest with their work, and you can just feel it. They're so personal.
Well, you've seen many people come through the door in interviews. You've seen many filmmakers. What is a standout piece of advice that you picked up or recognized that works for you?
Other than the cliche, just do it. You have to understand it is a collaborative process, but besides that, actually, it's just be honest, I guess. Create work that because when you're honest, you believe in the work. Don't make things to fit some sort of system or to fit some sort of guidelines, sort of just like free flow, make it, forget about structure. I mean, don't forget about structure, but I'm saying
I know what you're saying.
like, just first and foremost, right from the heart. If there's parts of your heart that are broken, you turn that into art, you know what I mean? And that's what I do.
Yeah, you do. You do, and honestly, thank you for putting your heart into the Sad Poet and sharing it with us. And thank you enormously for putting your heart into NewFilmmakers LA, which you certainly do.
Of course. And can I say one more thing, actually?
Of course.
I forgot to mention in terms of inspiration.
Yeah.
My brother.
Yeah,
Matthew,
of course.
Matthew Acedo, shout out.
Yeah.
Because, he has Down syndrome, and he lives his life day to day, not worrying about paying bills or he has any stress or anything like that. I feel like he just genuinely lives life. He just wants to be happy, and he just pursues happiness. And like, I feel like, and he just spreads love and joy, and he doesn't worry about all the S word that we worry about on a day-to-day basis. So that's a huge inspiration to me, because when I'm like down about something, I get reminded of the beauty of life when I see him. So that keeps me going. So
well, and that being shared, on your social media, when you post pictures about your mum and your dad and your brother, it spreads the inspiration of your love that you have for your brother as well, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, make sure you get a cameo appearance in your next film then, hey?
Yeah. Of course, 100%.
All right, Andrew,
Thanks,
the sad poet. Thank you very much, everyone.
And Danny, by the way, before we cut, he's one of my role models. He's a huge inspiration to everyone that he interacts with. I love Danny.
Love you too, man.
Yeah.